There are some things your friends can help you through, and there are some things your friends were never equipped to help you heal from. That doesn't mean they're bad friends. It means, or it doesn't mean that they don't love you. It doesn't mean you shouldn't talk to them. It simply means that sometimes love, loyalty, and good intentions aren't enough to help us work through the deeper things that happen inside. Your friends may say, forget about them. A counselor may ask, why has letting go been so difficult for you? Your friend may say you deserve better. A counselor may help you understand why you repeatedly accept less. Your friends may say, don't worry about it. A counselor may ask, what is this worry trying to tell you? Do you see the differences? Sometimes your friends help you feel better about what happened. Counseling can help you understand why what happened continues to affect you. And that distinction can change your life. Welcome to the Daily Uplift Official for encouragement you can count on. This is where we have conversations about faith, healing, relationships, personal growth, and becoming healthier emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And today we're talking about something I believe more people need to understand. Why talking to friends isn't always the same as counseling. Now, let's make something clear from the beginning. I'm not telling you to stop talking to your friends. Good relationships are valuable. Healthy relationships matter. Having people who love you, encourage you, pray with you, laugh with you, and stand by your side can be one of life's greatest blessings. But your friend and your counselor have different roles. And sometimes we get ourselves into trouble when we expect friends to do the work of professional counseling. Let's talk about it. Have you ever told your friend about something somebody did or something somebody did to you? Let me say that again. Have you ever told your friend about something somebody did to you? But before you can even finish the story, your friend is already mad. You say, girl, let me tell you what happened. And 5 minutes later, your friend is saying, oh, absolutely not. Don't answer their calls anymore. Block them. You don't need them. Why? Because they love you. They don't like seeing you hurt. Their loyalty is to you. And that's beautiful. But loyalty can also make objectivity difficult. Your friend already knows your history. They know what you've survived. They remember what the person did last year. They remember when you told them or what you told them about 6 months ago. They may have already decided how they feel about the situation before you even finish explaining it. A good counselor has a different set of responsibilities. Counseling isn't supposed to be about picking sides. A counselor may help you examine the situation, including your own thoughts, behaviors, patterns, and choices. And sometimes that's exactly what we don't want. We want somebody to say, you're right, they're wrong. That's it. But healing sometimes requires a more difficult question. What part of this belongs to me? Not because everything is your fault. Absolutely not. There are things people do to us that we did not cause and did not deserve. But there may still be patterns, responses, boundaries, beliefs, or decisions that are ours to examine. A friend may protect your feelings. A skilled counselor may respectfully challenge your thinking. and sometimes growth requires most. Now, this is where things get interesting. Your friend knows what happened, but counseling may help you explore why similar things keep happening. Maybe you keep getting into relationships with emotional, unavailable people. Your friends know every relationship. They remember Marcus, they remember David, they remember Lisa, they remember everybody. And every time that relationship ends, your friends are there to help you through it. But eventually, somebody needs to ask, why does this pattern keep repeating? See, that's a different conversation. Maybe it's not simply about the last person. Maybe there are different expectations, fears, attachment patterns, or beliefs worth exploring. Maybe you're terrified of being alone. Maybe you struggle to enforce boundaries. Maybe you ignore warning signs because you want the relationship to work. Maybe you're trying to earn love instead of allowing healthy love to be reciprocal. Excuse me. Maybe you're trying to earn love instead of allowing healthy love to be reciprocal. Counseling can provide a structured place to explore patterns like these without assuming there is one simple explanation. And sometimes that's the breakthrough. You stop asking, why does everybody keep doing this to me? And start asking, what patterns do I need to understand so I can make healthier choices? That's a powerful shift. When somebody we love hurts, it, when somebody we love hurts, our instinct is to often make the pain stop. That's why friends say, don't think about it, just move on. You've got to let that go. Everything happens for a reason. You'll find somebody else. And usually they mean well, but sometimes you're not ready to just move on. Sometimes something needs to be processed. Sometimes you need to talk about what happened without someone rushing you toward a conclusion, because healing isn't pretending something didn't hurt. Healing isn't saying I'm over it when you're still thinking about it every night. Healing isn't suppressing emotion because everybody around you is tired of hearing about it. A counselor role isn't simply to make uncomfortable emotions disappear. Depending on the situation, a therapeutic approach counseling can help you understand emotions, develop coping skills, recognize patterns, work toward goals, and make healthier decisions. See, that's different from, girl, forget about him. Or, man, you've got to get over that. And here's one we've all heard: the quickest way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else. Sometimes you don't need somebody to tell you to get over it, you need an appropriate place to work through it. Here's something we don't talk about enough: friendships are reciprocal. If I call you today with my problem, tomorrow you may call me with yours. That's friendship. We share, we support one another, we take turns listening. But because friendship is reciprocal, sometimes you hold things back. You may think, I don't want to burden them. They've already got enough going on. I've talked about this last week. They're going to get tired of hearing this. So you shorten the story. You minimize what you're feeling. You change the subject. You say, I'm okay. Not because you're okay, but because you don't want your friendship to become centered entirely around your problem. Professional counseling is different. That scheduled time is intentionally focused on you and the issue you've chosen to address. You don't have to spend the first 20 minutes asking your counselor how their marriage is going. You don't have to say, well, I've talked enough. What's going on with you? That's not the relationship. They are professional boundaries. And those boundaries can create space for you to explore things more deeply. This happens all the time. You tell somebody about your marriage, they immediately clear it or they immediately compare it to their marriage. You talk about your mother, they compare her to their mother. You talk about your childhood, they start telling you about theirs. And before you know it, your conversation has become their story. Again, they may be trying to help. They're saying, I understand because I've been through similar things. But similar isn't identical. Their experience isn't necessarily your experience. What worked for them may not work for you. See, that's why you've got to be careful about building your life entirely around somebody else's advice. Counseling should be centered on understanding your particular circumstances rather than simply saying, here's what I did, so here's what you should do. That's an important difference. Now, this one may sting. Sometimes we don't call certain friends because they are wise. We call them because they already know we already know what they're going to say. Come on. You know exactly which friend to call when you want permission to do something. You've got the friend who's going to say, don't do it. And you've got another friend that's going to say, do it, life is short. And depending on which answer you want, that's the person you call. That's not always seeking wisdom. Sometimes that's seeking confirmation. And we all can do it. We naturally gravitate towards people who reinforce what we already believe. But counseling can challenge that. A good counselor isn't there merely to agree with everything you say. They may ask, what makes you believe that? Is there another way of looking at this? What happened the last time you made that choice? What are you hoping will happen? What are you afraid will happen? Those questions can be uncomfortable, but uncomfortable questions sometimes produce important questions. Your friend can say, calm down. But a trained professional may be able to teach you strategies for regulating intense emotions. Your friend can say, stop thinking negatively. Counseling may help you identify recurring thought patterns and practice more useful ways of responding to them. Your friends can say, you need boundaries. A counselor may help you define what those boundaries actually look like. Communicate them and prepare for the emotional discomfort that can come with enforcing them. There's a difference between encouragement and intervention. There's a difference between somebody caring about you and somebody having professional training. Your best friend might love you with everything they have, but you wouldn't necessarily ask your best friend to perform surgery because they love you. Love matters. Training matters also. And recognizing that isn't disrespecting your friends, it's respecting the limits of friendship. Now, for somebody watching, this is the real question. You may be thinking, I pray, I read my Bible, I have faith. Why would I need counseling? Faith and counseling do not automatically have to be enemies. If you're physically sick, you can pray and still go to a physician. If your car breaks down, you can pray and still call a mechanic. If you need legal advice, you can pray and still consult an attorney. Seeking appropriate professional help doesn't have to mean you're abandoning your faith. You can pray before you You can pray before your counseling appointment. You can pray after it. You can ask God for wisdom about choosing the right counselor. You can bring your faith into counseling when working with a professional who appropriately supports that aspect of your life. Prayer can be a part of your healing. Community can be a part of your healing. Counseling can be a part of your healing. Those things don't necessarily have to compete. And sometimes God answers prayers through people who have been trained to help. Here's another reason this conversation matters. Sometimes we're putting too much emotional responsibility on one friend. Every crisis you call them, every argument you call them, every disappointment you call them, every night you can't sleep you call them. And because they love you, guess what they do? They answer. But eventually they may become emotionally exhausted too. Friendship should include support, but one person shouldn't have to become your entire emotional support system. Sometimes loving your friends means recognizing when what you're carrying requires more support than a friend can responsibly provide. That's not rejection, that's wisdom. Your friends can walk beside you, but they don't have to carry you. Maybe you've been dealing with the same issue repeatedly and can't seem to make progress. Maybe something from your past continues to affect your present relationships. Maybe you're struggling with grief, major life changes, relationship problems, overwhelming, emotional, or persistent patterns you don't understand. Maybe you've talked to your friends repeatedly, but you still feel like you need a more structured space to work through what's happening. You don't have to wait until everything falls apart before seeking help. That's important. Counseling isn't only for crisis. Sometimes counseling is maintenance. Sometimes it's prevention. Sometimes it's growth. Sometimes it's learning yourself before the consequences become bigger. You don't wait until your car engine is smoking on the side of the highway to acknowledge that the warning light has been on for 6 months. Pay attention to your emotional warning lights too. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to choose between friends and counseling. You don't need healthy people you need healthy people in the right roles. You need friends who can laugh with you, friends who can encourage you, friends who can tell you the truth, friends who can celebrate with you, friends who can sit with you when it hurts. And sometimes you may also need to benefit from a qualified counselor who can help you examine something more deeply. Your friend might hold your hand while you're healing. Your counselor may help you understand what you're healing from and develop a plan for moving forward. Those roles can complement each other. So, if you've been saying, I don't need counseling, I talk to my friends, I want you to reconsider that statement. Your friends may be wonderful. Keep them, love them, appreciate them, but they're for them the way appreciate them, but there for them the way be there for them the way they've been there for you. But recognize what friendships can and cannot provide. Some conversations require encouragement, some require accountability, some require prayer, some require friendship. Some may benefit from professional expertise. Wisdom is knowing the difference. And please hear me. Seeking counseling doesn't automatically mean something is terribly wrong with you. Sometimes it means you've decided something in your life deserves focused attention. Maybe you don't want to keep repeating the same relationship pattern. Maybe you want to understand yourself better. Maybe you want to process something you've carried for years. Maybe you want to become a healthier spouse, a healthier parent, a healthier friend, a healthier version of yourself. There's no shame in saying, I think I need somebody qualified to help me work through this. Sometimes that sentence is an evidence that you're giving up. Sometimes it's evidence that you're ready to do the work. If this message spoke to you today, share this video with someone who may be afraid, embarrassed, or uncertain about counseling. And in the comments, I want you to write, getting health is strength. If you already subscribed, and if you haven't already, subscribe and become part of this community, the Daily Uplift Official, for encouragement you can count on. Remember, keep your faith, protect your peace, don't be afraid to ask for help, and never be ashamed of doing the work necessary to become healthier. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and keep uplifting. I'll see you in the next video.